Showtime. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
You seem to know all the players in this poorly acted farce. What do they call that one?
Bob Lutz.
If you're too cheap to buy the NFL Sunday ticket, then what you do is you go to a bar.
Woohoo!
And Jason Duda. For today, anyway.
What am I supposed to do?
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH Radio. Bob Lutz, Jason Duda with you today. Chilly day. I thought we were going to have a little more warmth today, didn't you?
I thought it was supposed to be a little warmer this week.
Yeah, you're in your shorts.
Well, it's not that cold. But, yeah, I thought it was supposed to be a little bit warmer.
Well,
It was cold this morning, boy.
When we stopped by your house the other day, and
Yeah.
Jason Duda with us here, when we stopped by your house the other day to pick up what Dia had baked for us most recently.
That was Avery.
Well,
Yeah.
Dia too.
What?
You came out in your shorts along with Jackson in his shorts, and you were both shivering.
Who was shivering?
Jackson was cold, man.
Yeah, he's always cold. I don't know why he was wearing shorts.
But
It's not my fault. It's up to that's his problem.
well, I understand.
I mean,
that.
I'm not going to, the kid's going to be 15 here in a couple weeks, so figure it out.
If he's 2 or 3, then you say, "Listen, we're not going to take you out in the shorts." But
Well, if he's 2 or 3, then you take him out and laugh at him because it's funny. And then you take him back inside. But 15, that's just
is
idiotic.
soccer going on right now for him? Is there any soccer in
He's
his
playing
life?
some indoors over at Striker, but they're just doing games. But he's doing some practice thing a couple nights a week.
Now, does he drive himself over to Striker
he
now?
doesn't. No, he doesn't have his license yet. He's
Well,
not-
who gets him over? That's a long way.
Well, I know. Who do you think's been driving him all over the place for how many years? And you know what you drive him in? A car. And I've been driving him. The wife's been driving him.
What are you trying to
in
get
a
at
car.
something?
No, not yet, but we'll get there later. Let's leave it for now. Leave it
Well,
for
I mean,
But so, yeah, anyways, but I don't have to drive him tonight.
at some point, the kid will be driving himself.
Yeah. But he
But
can't
there-
drive. He couldn't drive to this anyway. If he gets a car, but he's not going to be getting one right away.
Now, I'm off the hook about going to any more soccer games, right?
Yeah, you got to your one. You stayed for a half. You saw 3 goals. Not bad for you finally getting out after 7.5 years.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fine. I mean, it's fine. I'm just not. I just don't. I'm not a soccer fan.
Understandable.
There's other sports I'm not a fan of.
Well, everybody has. I'm the same. I'm not an NBA guy at all.
No, you're not.
Like, at all. I don't mind watching college ball. Usually when KU or K-State or WSU are playing, I'll watch. Other than that, I'm not a huge basketball guy.
Well, we don't force the NBA upon you.
And I don't force soccer upon you until you bring it on yourself.
Jeff and I talk NBA occasionally, but not always. Certainly not until there's something to talk about.
Right.
But that's okay. I mean, we all have our thing. Today on the show, Vahe Gregorian from the Kansas City Star. One of our favorite guests. They're all favorite guests, but it's always, I've known Vahe forever. He used to be over at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch for a long time. And, of course, I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, so I knew of Vahe.
Right.
Then he came over to the Kansas City Star and got to cover a lot of stuff in his presence with him. So I look forward to talking to Vahe at 2:25. At 2:45, Brett Flory, the head boys coach at Derby. They have a great doubleheader tonight down in Derby. The McPherson Bullpups coming to town.
The Bullpups?
I would say that McPherson, the community, is the most basketball-oriented community in the history of our state.
What? Why is that?
Just the tradition,
Okay.
just the incredible tradition of McPherson High School basketball. And they'll be bringing their 2 teams down to play in Derby tonight. And then Duda has a game in hour number 2.
What?
Well, it's Tuesday.
I'm a Friday game guy.
Tuesday games.
Well, you could probably get a game together.
Well, but you can't play it.
Why?
Well, mine's going to be historical baseball. How you feel about that?
Oh, wheelhouse.
Really?
No. Not at all.
And then you'd have to play Max.
Oh, well, then it'd be as soon as one of us could finally get one right, we'd win.
Max probably thinks he knows something about historical baseball, would be my guess.
Well, if you can think you know a lot of things, doesn't mean you actually know them. That's where I put Max in that category. No offense, Max.
Yeah.
I'll get a game for you. I'll figure one out.
Really?
Yeah.
So you'd rather MC the game than play it?
Well, if it's historical baseball, it's probably not totally up my alley.
Well, it's not going to be historical hockey. I'm not.
Obviously not, but
I'm not going to do that to people.
It was mid 80s to mid 90s is when I was really into the baseball watching. So that's all I got.
I think my wife understands this, but the older I get, and boy, am I getting old, the more baseball means to me. So it's just like my major focus. Like at 4:30 today, we've got the Major League Baseball draft drawing, seeing who gets to
see where you're
who gets to go pick first and all that stuff. And I can't wait for that.
Seriously.
I know, it's weird.
That is kind of weird. That's really weird.
And we got the baseball winter meetings ongoing in Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm following that with great interest.
Anything interesting happening out of that?
Not today yet.
What about the Golden at bat?
No, that's not going to happen.
That would be awful.
Yeah.
Would it not be awful?
What about Juan Soto? What are your thoughts on an athlete getting $765 million over 15 years, making in the neighborhood of $130,000 per game?
It's more than I made.
No, wait. I think it's, you know what I'm saying. A lot of money per game. Maybe $30,000 per game.
Well, it's a lot of money. It's a ridiculous number. I'm curious on how it's structured, because how are you going to be paying
No,
him?
it's $131,000 per game. Or no,
it's
you know what it is?
It's I think it's more than that.
$311,000.
That's what I thought. I was going to say.
I had to think for a minute.
That's got to be more than that.
Yeah, per game.
I know. It's crazy.
We're going to have $1 billion athlete soon.
300.
Because as I told Jeff yesterday, and boy, he took me to task.
Did he? What on what?
Here was my point. My main point was that, okay, here's Juan Soto. He's 26 years old. He's obviously a great player. Now he's cashed in on being a great player.
Yes.
At 26, right?
Yeah.
There's no other contracts, most likely, in his future.
No.
He's guaranteed to pull in $765 million by the time he's 40. My question to Jeff was, is it guaranteed that Juan Soto, to some degree, won't lose some of his incentive and won't maybe potentially lose some of his drive and ambition that helped him get to be this good?
It should. I would think it would.
See, he just couldn't even believe that. And I'm not saying it will.
No,
I'm saying couldn't it?
At some point when your body starts to break down, because it's what happens. When you get to your mid-30s, his body's going to start to break down.
But I'm talking right now.
Well, right now he's probably jacked, so he's going to be fine for the next few years, I think. Next 3 or 4 years.
I'm talking mostly mental, not physical. I'm talking about,
that, but
okay, I got this money.
The mental side of it will come when his body starts to break down. And in his head's going to be, you know what?
Couldn't the mental side come before the body starts?
No.
You don't think he'll...
It could. Yeah, I could see it happening because you're getting you're getting paid. It's done.
I'm not.
It's got to be all about baseball, all about winning. But if it is, then why'd you go to the Mets?
I'm not saying this will happen. I'm just throwing it out there.
I know. This is all hypothetical.
If somebody
But
paid me $765 million, I might put it, even without knowing it, I might put it more in cruise control.
I think later on it will be. I don't think right away it will be. He's 26. He's in his prime. He's got a chance to break records.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of things to play for, so I don't see it happening now. If he ends up getting injured and missing a bunch of time and then it's getting later on, then I could see it going into cruise control. As to start with, though, I don't think so, because if you put it into cruise control, then everybody's going to just be like, you're a complete loser. This is ridiculous. But on the other side of it, you'd think you'd want to win as well, but going to the Mets, the Mets are okay, but I don't think they're ready to win anything, are they?
Oh, yeah, well,
I watched them last year. They had a good
They were in the National
run.
League Championship Series this year.
They had a good run, but I don't know if they're there yet.
Well, this is certainly a piece that...
Well, it's going to help. There's no question about that.
They got a lot more they're going to do, I think. I think they're going to add one of the ace guys, starting pitchers, Fried, Burns, somebody like that. We'll see. My wife just sent me a text that has me rattled. She's got a cataract situation, and tomorrow they're going to have a little cataract surgery. And we were unsure of the time, and she just sent me the time. 6:15.
Oh,
So I texted back AM like an idiot.
yeah,
Like they're going to do it 6:15 p.m.
They're not.
But I'm rattled.
Why?
That's early, man, for me.
Well, give me a call.
You want to take her over?
I actually should be right around break time at work. Probably could.
Oh, my goodness. 6:15? I don't function at 6:15. I don't do things. That's not my deal. I'm not.
But getting up once is not a big deal.
Yeah, but this whole thing, still being this active at my age, I don't get very. I know I'm preaching to the choir because you took this job that requires you to get up at this ungodly hour. Don't judge everybody by that.
I'm not.
We're not all there.
But all I'm saying is that for one day to get up to help your wife shouldn't be a big deal.
Uber.
For what you always say and like, oh yeah, well, I love my wife, and then she says, hey, I gotta have.
I love her.
I gotta have eye surgery tomorrow. It's at 6:15. Oh, I don't want to get up at 6:15.
I love her to a
Too
point.
early.
Let's be.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Here you go. Here it comes.
I love her as long as we're not getting up this early.
Ah, I see. That's terrible to say. Like, just god awful.
Awful.
That is awful to say.
Well, I mean, we understand me. But anyway, we'll head over there, I guess. Get up at, what, 5? Oh,
How far is it from here?
way over there on Webb Road.
You just hop on.
You don't hop on anything
235 and
at
go.
5.
Yeah, you do. There's going to be not much traffic at all. And go. Take you, what, 15 minutes?
I was going to go to a breakfast award ceremony tomorrow. One of our coaches in League 42 is getting an award for performing CPR on a kid. Do you remember when that happened
Yes, I remember that.
last spring? So that coach is getting an award, but I'm going to have to miss that now.
What time's that at?
7:30.
So it's a whole hour and 15 minutes earlier than what you were going to be out doing something anyway. And you're sitting here complaining about an hour.
Well, I got to get
For
at
your
5.
wife. For your wife. That's...
Maybe we can
Debbie,
get a
I'm
neighbor
sorry.
to drop her off.
Debbie, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can get breakfast while she's in surgery. Go get yourself a little bite to eat.
I don't even know how long does cataract surgery last?
I don't know. It depends probably on how much they have to do. Did you not talk about this so you know how long it would be?
Yeah, I heard something about it.
So you were kind of there but not there paying it.
Oh, I'm already tired, man. Now that just sunk my ship.
Poor
But
guy.
we'll handle it.
Will ya?
We'll handle it. My goodness. I've completely
One
lost
day.
my train of thought.
Yeah, I know.
Early, I don't do well early. Remember the profession I was in for my entire life, sports writing. Cover events, you're out late, get home late. That was that life. This getting up early life, I don't know what that is. That's never been me. So when I'm asked to get up at 5 a.m., difficult for me.
You can do it.
You're used to it.
Yeah, but I never was used to it. I was in the same business you were in. Go and play, and you're on the road. I used to get home now when I get up to go to work. That's how it switched for me. But I was the same way. We play a game. You play till 10, so you grab a bite to eat. You maybe grab a couple beers after. It's midnight, 1 o'clock before you get home. Sleep in. I was the same way. You can do it.
I will say this.
You can do it. Get up.
I'm rarely up past 10 o'clock anymore. That's a big change over the last year or two. It's very hard to stay up past 10. You're never up past 10.
Well,
unless you don't have to work the next day.
Yeah, if I don't have to work, I can make it. If not, like last night I was out by 8:30.
Anyway, that's my issue.
Man.
I won't trouble you with it.
Man, you got a lot. That's a big problem. Hey, you got some serious problems
Well,
in
I
your
was
life.
expecting to see
That you have to get up.
Here's
and
what
take
they
your
told
wife
her.
in.
They told her, we'll probably do this surgery mid-morning. That's what they told her.
Mid-morning.
Mid-morning.
6 a.m. is mid-morning.
Yeah, not to me it's not.
Well, you got 12 a.m.
Mid-morning means...
noon. Mid-morning.
Mid-morning means 10 a.m. Right?
That's late morning.
No, that's not late.
That's late morning.
Mid-morning.
That's not mid-morning.
Yeah, it is. Mid-morning.
You got 10 and 11. Noon
Most places
starts the
don't even
afternoon.
open till 8. Mid-morning is anywhere from 9 to 11. That's my definition of
So
mid-morning.
what's late morning? 11 to 12?
11 to noon.
That's
Yeah, that's what late morning is.
That's because that is in with what you're
10
saying.
o'clock's not late morning.
You're working in your narrative that you want.
Max,
for
get on
everybody.
the microphone because Duda's acting like a moron over here.
Oh, someone's got his panties in a knot.
What is mid morning to you, Max? What hours of the day?
Like
Max has to. There he is.
10 o'clock through 11:30.
See, he's even 10 to 11:30 for Max.
That's late morning, guys.
Late morning is 11 to noon. Mid morning is 9 to 11. Early morning is anything before 9. You with me, Max?
Careful,
Yeah,
Max.
Yeah, I can see that. Middays in radio was like 10 to 2, or in the earlier days, 9 to noon.
Well,
Yeah, midday, but
neither
not
one of you are making any
but
sense.
not mid morning.
Neither one.
Like mid afternoon is 2 to 4. Early afternoon, noon to 2. Late afternoon, 4 to 6. You could even go early evening, starting at 5.
Yeah, sure. You can.
But mid morning is not 6:15 a.m. I'll just tell you that
Yeah,
right
that's
now.
mid-morning.
Well, for Duda, it is.
Mid-morning.
He gets up at 2 in the morning or something.
exactly.
That's his fault.
It's mid-morning.
All right, time for a break. We're going to come back, talk with Vahe Gregorian from the Kansas City Star. The Chiefs. What do we make of the Chiefs? Well, they're 12-1. Nobody can seem to figure out a way to beat them. Everybody seems to be able to figure out a way to put them in a precarious situation. One of the most fascinating seasons I can ever recall.
It's
We'll
crazy.
talk about it with Vahe next.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFO.
Don't forget the IHOP hotline, 869-1240. IHOP, the official breakfast partner of Xbox. We are joined on that hotline right now by Vahe Gregorian, sports columnist for the Kansas City Star, longtime journalist. Vahe, welcome. How are you today?
I'm glad to be with you guys. I think I heard a reference to somebody named Ferdinand, which makes me feel the need to share with your audience that Ferdinand the Bull was my favorite childhood book. But if it wasn't Ferdinand, I'm sorry for the intrusion.
No, you got that right. You don't miss anything, Vahe. Let's start talking about the Chiefs, because you've been a sports writer for a long time. I made the comment as we were going to break that I don't think I've ever seen anything like what this team is doing and the way they're winning football games, to the point where they have the best record in the NFL, and people are questioning, are they really a good football team? It doesn't make any sense. Of course they're a good football team, or they wouldn't have this record, right?
Well, that is, first of all, that is 100% true. Now, I think the real question, if you're really looking at it, is how good. And I think there's 1,000 different ways to look at this, and I don't know which one is most valid, but I think all of them have a voice in this identity. Because, for one thing, they win these games on this crazy array of things that have happened, right? I mean, if you had 2 or 3 of those things happen in a season, you'd say that's bizarre. And they've had like 8 of them. And, really every game seems to be the same for 59 minutes and 30 seconds, and then who knows how this one's going to be won. But the point really is that they always are putting themselves in that position. We'll talk a lot about that the field goal doinked off the left upright. Yeah. But what we should be talking about is the 3rd and 7 pass to Kelsey to convert, to put themselves in that spot. We'll talk a lot about how Baltimore, if the receiver doesn't land a toe out of bounds, then the Chiefs might well lose that game. They still would have had to convert a two-pointer, but it felt like that was what was going to happen. But we're not talking enough about that Lamar Jackson did not make the play on the previous play because he sailed the ball over another open receiver's hands. And so one way or another, what we see all the time is the other team either failing to make a play when it has to, and the Chiefs virtually always making a play when it has to. And at some level, you can say what you want, whether this feels like a house of cards and, who knows, but they've done it over and over again. And it's not just cosmetic to be 12-1. They are 12-1 and in a really good place to secure a number 1 seed and the bye that comes with it and have everything go through Kansas City again. So most of all, they've done exactly what they need to be doing. And by the way, it's not in a vacuum. I mean, there've been some things they've been poor at. There've been some things they've been better at. All of this is stuff that is, working toward a playoff approach.
Well, and so if we go into the defensive side and the offensive side, the defensive side has played well. They don't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And then you look at the offensive side and getting away from Mahomes and that side, obviously the left tackle's been a huge problem. What are they going to do? We're used to them scoring a bunch of points. They've hit 30 twice. Once was against Carolina. The other was against Tampa Bay. They've scored 19 points the last 2 games. Are they going to have trouble putting points on the board? Are we going to have to rely on this defense to continually keep teams under 20?
Well, it's going to be both. And there's some interesting things within that, right? I mean, they've scored only 19 points each of these last 2 games, only 1 touchdown each of these last 2 games. If they score another touchdown or so in the red zone, then that looks a little bit different. They've got some breathing room, and now you're up into the mid-20s, but they're not doing that. And is that a solvable thing? It's kind of interesting because they're so good on third downs. You'd think that would translate a little more into being so good in the red zone, right? Finding the way to get those yards when you have to have them hasn't been that way. Why they get away from some things that seem to be working, I don't know. For instance, they've those 30-point games, they had a lot of carries by Kareem Hunt in those games. I'm not saying he's the whole reason, but they established the run. And And they've gotten away from the run pretty fast these last two games. Is it that they're just, bad strategists, or is it something that they're seeing that says we got to get away from the run? And I think we understand that it's obviously more the latter than the former, but it's not always something we're able to understand their rationale for. So, look, they've gotten some reinforcements the last couple of weeks. Pacheco's back. You can see he's starting to hit his stride. Amenahu's back. Maybe they'll get Hollywood Brown back. That's really an X factor. I think maybe this left tackle situation will get firmed up once Humphreys plays a little bit, assuming he isn't too greatly injured. I think we all expected more than we should have out of him in that first game. And when you realize it's not only his first game in a year, but his first game for a new team and a new system, there are a lot of reasons that he might have looked a step behind and a little tentative. I'm looking forward to seeing him after a couple of games under his belt. So I think there's every reason to think they're going to have some things be better. And let's remember one last thing. From all the Super Bowl years that they won Super Bowls, there were major questions about them along the way, right around now. I mean, last year, you remember they were in the process of losing 3 of 4. What's wrong with the Chiefs? The second Super Bowl year, they won 7 games in a row by 5 points or fewer. What's wrong with the Chiefs? The defense was horrendous the first year they won the Super Bowl until the last month of the season. So they've had a bit of a trend towards getting better when they have to. And I feel like that's what we should still anticipate. Doesn't mean it will be good enough, but I do feel like it's what we should still anticipate.
Vahe Gregorian from the Kansas City Star sports columnist. We're talking Chiefs. So Patrick Mahomes has been an MVP in this league. He's been a Super Bowl MVP. He's put up gaudy numbers. He's been incredible. He's not in that spot in his career right now where he's putting up those kinds of numbers. Yet, as you mentioned, that pass to Kelsey the other day to set up the field goal that went off the upright and won the game. It seems like, I don't know how to even describe Patrick Mahomes at this stage of his career. It's almost like he's more dangerous than he's ever been without the incredible numbers. Is that nuts?
Well, I think you're hitting at the essence of what I think. And, Sam McDowell wrote a really nice column about this the other day, and it circles back to basically 4 words Mahomes said to Andy Reid while they were trying to figure out the strategy down the stretch. I'll make something happen. And here's the thing about Patrick. You're right. The numbers are actually greatly diminished. There's a lot going on that, accounts for that. But let's just, call that for what it is. The numbers are way down. They've been way down for a couple of years, when you think about it. I still feel like you give me a first-round draft pick on somebody I want to win the game for me in the last 2 minutes, he's the guy. And he's probably not going to, even be one of the top 2 or 3 MVP guys this year. He's still the MVP. To me, in terms of what he means to this whole engine, what he provides, what he makes happen. And the fascinating part is, okay, we've seen quarterbacks do it with their legs before, but we haven't quite seen the whole repertoire that he brings. And I got watching some of the things he did earlier this season, and a couple of weeks ago, I wrote about how basketball has influenced his game as a quarterback. And I thought it would be a good idea to talk to Bill Self over at KU about that, because I know he's a big Patrick fan. And Bill made an interesting point, that in basketball, you want a point guard who can count to 10, right? He knows where everybody on the court is on both teams. And he said he's pretty sure Patrick can count to 22 when he's on the field. And I think that really says a lot about the most vital part of what makes Patrick who he is the spatial awareness and the ability to physically take advantage of the spatial awareness. I mean, he just has an uncanny understanding of what's around him, what the flow is, what can fit into what box. And these are things that show up a lot in the little flick pass to Travis Kelce, or, the passes we've known him better for over the years with the big gainers.
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back to what you said earlier when we were talking about the offensive side and why they got away from the run. They seem to be to me, they got to be more of a running team, because even when you look at what Mahomes has to work with, it's really not a lot. Let's be honest. Kelsey's a step slower. Xavier Worthy's kind of here and there. Hopkins is kind of helped, but he's getting a little older. Juju's just kind of Juju. Shouldn't they? Do you think they should stick with the run a little bit more, or does Patrick have the ability to change things at the line whenever he wants? I don't know if you know that or not, but if he's seeing stuff, does he just change it and decide we're going to pass, or is that all Andy Reid?
Well, it's a combination. I do think Patrick can pretty much change anything anytime he wants, but I think it's within a range of things typically, unless it's a certain time of game. The thing that I can't quite figure out, and maybe it's obvious, but I can't quite figure it out, is why there hasn't been just enough more connectivity with Xavier Worthy that takes the lid off a little bit, if not, with a completed pass, at least with opening up the middle of the field more. I thought that would be more in sync and harmony by now, and it's just really not been there. It's not like, I don't think it has been a dud year for Xavier Worthy, but it hasn't been the sort of year you thought it would be. And to your point, I think there's room for them to run a bit more. And I think also, though, I think what until they can make sure they've really got some protection shored up, and they are not at all sure about that right now. That last drive of the first half, I believe, is when it was the only touchdown drive. It was a little bit with respect to the clock, but it also was for a change of pace. I mean, it was the quick, rapid release passes that, suddenly gets the other team backpedaling, and it's 7, 8, 10 yards at a time. But they were very effective with that. And I think they're going to have to find ways to make that more a part of their featured routine.
Final moments here with Vahe Gregorian from the Kansas City Star. Chiefs, of course, only one loss, 12-1. They're in Cleveland to face the Browns on Sunday. They'll win that game on a 99-yard fumble return with 10 seconds to go. That's my prediction.
That's funny you'd say that. I can't believe you're predicting that. I predicted a pick six, but yeah, go ahead.
That's what I was thinking. With Jameis out there, that's probably 50-50 for that.
Cleveland will have the lead. They'll want to run the ball, and they'll fumble it. And anyway, let's jump over to KU basketball. You mentioned Bill Self. They got off to a flying start with some impressive wins against a very demanding schedule, but they've faltered of late, including a loss at Missouri over the weekend. They brought in a bunch of transfer portal guys to mix them up with a couple of veterans, and then Hunter Dickinson in his second year. It's so interesting to watch teams try to put together teams that have chemistry and talent. In this day of the transfer portal, how difficult is that, in your opinion?
Well, listen, I think it's the question of our times in college sports, right? I mean, and it doesn't have to be, I think I'm using the term right, a zero-sum game, right? Whether you just get a guy who is, you can nurture and there's going to be chemistry and it's going to be a couple of years, or you just get a superstar. You can find ways to blend all of this. But I do think what you find yourself reminded of is that November and December aren't necessarily going to be indicators of where they'll be in February and March. And they're kind of a really interesting study in this, right? As they beat a couple blue bloods, at least in name blue bloods, and then they don't beat Creighton or Missouri. And obviously that's in the craw of many a Jayhawk after that. Do I have a feel for where this will be? I don't know. I mean, right now you think it looks like an early exit from the NCAA tournament type team. But I think that, we've seen Bill Self do a lot of great things. What's most interesting to me, though, back to the very early point you were making, that last national title team was a team made up of guys who were there a few years. I mean, they developed in the program. Now, they've certainly got a couple of those guys now, but it's not quite as foundational as it was then. So now you've got more of the sort of floating cast of characters, more, not entirely, but more, And I think it's a panel discussion, waiting to be had about just roster construction.
I agree. Bill Self does get a lot of credit, and he's definitely worthy for being able to build teams and improve teams. But he's got so many guys now on this team who have been through the wars. How much can they improve? We'll see as the season progresses. Vahe, I always love having you on. Thanks for doing it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. We'll talk to you before long.
Okay, Vahe Gregorian, always good. Always good stuff.
Good player.
Brett Floyd joins us, Derby High School boys basketball coach. What does that mean, Brett? Don't let the green grass fool you.
Bob, I'm an English 11 teacher here at Derby High School, and I'm ashamed to say I have no freaking idea what that means. So I'll have to do some homework.
Do you know?
Well, is the grass greener on the other side? So is it better to leave?
That's a good point.
Or is it not? Or let's just be honest. Or if you're smoking the green grass, does that help? I think that's where we're at. That's my guess.
I'm not going to go there.
Well, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing.
So, Coach, you opened with a big win over a very good Andover team, and now you've got McPherson tonight. You're scheduling crazy. What's going on? Why are you playing all these good teams so early?
I probably need to talk to Mr. Baldwin about that one, our athletic director here. But it is a challenging opening for sure. It doesn't get any easier after this. We have at Mays and then Mays South before Christmas still to go after this one tonight. So, but really though, that's always been my philosophy is you want to have those kinds of games because that's hopefully what prepares you to be a team that's tough enough to win in March. You may take a few lumps along the way, but that's part of the story sometimes. But it was a nice way to start the season on Friday, but it was just a start.
And how does the team look? Are you happy with where you're at? Give us a little rundown of how you feel the team is progressing, and then give us some of the players that you're looking to lean on a little bit this year.
Yeah, I really love our group. I think it's a group that's characterized by, there's not one or two lead wolves necessarily, but it's more kind of a strength of the pack type of team. I think we have 8, 9, or 10 really solid high school basketball players. Maybe there's not one superstar at this stage of their career in the bunch, but there's a multitude of guys that on any night can give you a great performance. We saw that on Friday. 4 of our most consistent performers throughout the summer kind of struggled offensively, at least for various reasons. But then we had, 2 people off the bench that were able to go 20-plus for us and really kind of save the day. And I think that's kind of what the group is about. It's a high-character group, unselfish group. It's probably going to be a different guy or two each night that leads the way. If we can ever get 7 or 8 guys clicking at the same time, then it might be really, really good. But hopefully there won't be a night where we don't have at least 2 or 3 guys play really well and keep us in games. But it's kind of hard to pick a name or two out. Jack Welling has been here, a varsity player for 3 years and is a senior captain for us. He labored a little bit on Friday. He played on a sprained ankle, which is slowly but surely getting better, but he definitely felt the effects of that. And Caden Titus is another senior captain who was just terrific all summer. And, he couldn't buy a basket on Friday, but we know that's going to change. Friday night standouts for us were Avant Riley, a young sophomore who's about as, skilled and dynamic with the ball as a kid we've probably had since maybe Nigel Wright was here, who went on to, have a great career at Fort Hays State. And Jackson Malv came over from Southeast this year and really stepped up big his first game for Derby, and with a 20 and 30. I think he had 20 points and like 12 or 13 rebounds. So we got a lot of guys that can play, just a matter of getting everybody clicking at the same time.
Brett Floyd, our guest, boys basketball coach at Derby. They have McPherson tonight. It'll be a great girls game as well as a boys game. You're a historian. You follow basketball as much as anybody I know in terms of coaches. You're always commenting on it. I said to Jason earlier in the show that when I think of basketball in Kansas, the first town that jumps into my head is McPherson. I believe this is right. They've had Jay Frazier, Mike Henson, and now Kurt Kinnaman as their basketball coaches for the last 60 years or so. It's remarkable. This guy, Kurt Kinnaman, is an amazing basketball coach. Just talk about coaching against him, coaching against McPherson, and how challenging that is.
I think you're 100% right. It's, in a lot of ways, it kind of mirrors KU in that so few head coaches in its history and all so successful. Coach Kinnaman was coaching them when I was still in high school, and he's just getting started there, I believe, when I was in high school. And I'm not the youngest guy in the world anymore, so that tells you he's been there a minute. But it's amazing watching the film, preparing for them, how many sets they have in at this stage in the season, and how efficiently they run them. It's just like, I have no idea how he does that. I need to find out one day for sure, because it's mind-boggling how much stuff they're able to run at this stage in the season. And then, of course, defensively, they're always so solid and play so hard. That's just a McPherson trademark. And I tell you what, everybody from McPherson can shoot, especially if their last name is Pyle. And they have two more of those guys on the squad this year who are really, really good players. So we've definitely got our hands full. And, yeah, Coach Kinnaman's been someone I've looked up to for a long time. When I started off at Valley Center, he kicked my teeth in many times when he was there. We've had a few battles back and forth since I've been at Derby, but it's always, you're going to be tested. You're going to find out exactly what your team is made of when you play MAC.
Coach, I've been curious when we've had coaches on your thought about the shot clock. Do you think it's good? Do you like it personally? And then how are the kids adapting to it, especially your seniors and your sophomores and juniors who already have played a year or two or three and now all of a sudden have the shot clock? Just
right.
Your thoughts on that, and then how the kids you think are responding to it, and not just your kids, but in general.
Yeah, I think, number one, I'm glad it's here. I think in our particular style of play, which is pretty fast, it really has had very little influence. I mean, we played with one most of the summer in 2025, summer games we played or so, and we didn't run up against it once. So it's not impacting us a ton that way, but it changes the end of quarter and end of game situations when teams might go into, kind of a holding pattern and, try and play for one shot with, like a minute left in the quarter or in the game or whatever the case might be. So it's end of quarter, end of game situations where it has a huge impact and changes the game. In the flow of the game, like our game on Friday, neither us or Andover, once sniffed a violation, I don't think, of the clock, and I haven't seen too many at this point in time. But, my only concern with it is being an experimental thing. We're going to go to postseason play, and now all of a sudden it's going to go back to the way it was. And, that is a little bit concerning when you're getting accustomed to playing with it all season. We're going to have to kind of make that transition when it matters the most. But that being said, though, if that's what it takes to get it into the high school game, I'm okay with that, because I think it's a positive for the game all in all.
Brett Flory, our guest, where'd you play high school basketball? This pertains to my next question.
That's it, Lawrence High School.
Okay.
1997 graduate. So.
And then you coached up in the Northeast for a little while, right?
Yeah, I started off as an assistant for Coach Fritz at Blue Valley Northwest for 3 years out of college, which had no idea how lucky I was. Ended up working when he got the job at Northwest, he kind of hired me sight unseen basically as his JV coach there. And, the opportunity to end up working for, the best coach in the metro area and eventual 5-time state champion there was a real blessing. But, yeah, started off at Blue Valley Northwest and then got the head job at Valley Center and then came to Derby after that.
So this feeds into my question because you have familiarity. There was a time when the Wichita area, and especially the City League, dominated high school basketball. And I'm sure the teams up in the Northeast wondered, how are we ever going to get them? How are we ever going to surpass what's going on in the Wichita City League? Well, they've surpassed it here in recent years. Why do you think that is, and what can the City League and other 6A and 5A schools in our area do to combat that?
Well, I think it's a lot of factors, and you're right. Like, I remember my first year at Blue Valley Northwest as an assistant, and that was Coach Fritz's first team there. We got it turned around. We got to state. In the first round of state, we had Wichita Southeast, and it was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with these guys? And they knocked us out first round right away. I think what you're seeing is just a proliferation of really good players that has kind of grown with what you see with summer and travel ball, with what you see with just the growing business of personal trainers and these facilities that you have in suburban areas. There's just a lot more opportunity for kids to get really, really good. And so I think you're seeing, I'm not sure that, the schools in the City League have necessarily regressed or anything like that. Obviously Heights has continued to, be completely dominant and played in what they're going for their fourth straight championship game this year, I believe, with Coach Auer. But I think what you've just seen is an elevation of play in some of those suburban schools and certainly in Kansas City in particular. Facilities like home field and all those places where kids just play year round and get better and better and better. And I think that has a lot to do with it. It's just that, the level of play in some other areas has really been elevated, I think.
All right. Always interesting to talk about things like that. At least I think so. Brett, thank you. Good luck in your game. Thanks for coming on a game day. I appreciate that. And best of luck tonight.
No problem. Yeah, well, we'll need it. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
There you go, Derby McPherson. If you want to see a high-quality basketball game, both girls and boys, head down to Derby tonight. Stop into Pizza John's.
No, look at you. Look at you throwing
give me
them out
something
there.
now.
I would think so.
They better.
But I don't think they have to because you're going to continue to do it.
I don't think they do, but they better listen up now.
Or what? Or what? Seriously.
Listen up.
Or what? Or what? What's going to happen?
Well, I mean, that's a pitch man for you right there.
It really is. Maybe you'll get a free Coke next time you go down and order a pizza.
Could be. All right, an hour to go. Jeff is out today. He'll be back tomorrow. It's Bob Lutz, Jason Duda on a Tuesday edition. We'll have a game from Duda coming up at about 3:25. He'll get something together.
Oh, yeah.
He'll get it together.
No worries.
doubt.
No worries.
Stay with us.
Please hang on. Please. This is an official interruption of your local entertainment transmission.
In one moment, a gift most humans never receive in a lifetime.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
Now, I'm a very deep person. It's very hard to get to the bottom of who I am.
I know what you mean.
And Jason Duda. For today, anyway.
Talk about being out on a limb. Come on, man.
Really?
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Stand by for action.
Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2, the Bob and Jeff Show here on a Tuesday. Jason Duda in for Jeff today. Jeff will be back tomorrow. We'll also talk with Wichita State inside hitter Morgan Stout from the volleyball team. She's on her way now to professional volleyball. Just had an unbelievable season for the Shockers, so look forward to catching up with her tomorrow. Is Bill Belichick going to be the next coach at North Carolina?
No.
And if so, why?
Well, if so, why he's going is because he's Bill Belichick. And they're using the name, obviously. That's why they're hiring him. That would be my theory on why. He's not a college coach. Does he know football? There's no denying the fact he knows his football. But I do not see him taking that job.
Wouldn't he be miserable with NIL and transfer portal and recruiting? And
do you think Bill could actually be that guy?
No.
That's exactly
He's 72 years old.
And
not that that's ancient and that he can't perform and can't coach anymore, but to go to the college game and try to keep up here where there's tons of pressure. You know, you go to North Carolina, they want to win.
Well, and also you're Bill Belichick, so you're expected to win.
It's never made any sense, and I want it to stop now.
Well, they're not going to stop because it keeps North Carolina.
But
I
want it to stop.
Well, you can want it to stop, but it's not going to.
Well, whether
they
it's
hire a
going
guy
to or not, I'm offended by it.
How are you offended by it?
Because it's never going to happen.
But that's the way everything works nowadays. They wanted their name's out there.
Oh.
But that's it. It's just like social media. It's like all this stuff.
So if there's an opening at some radio station, and they float my name, is that something that should happen?
No, that's a mistake.
Way to take that bait.
Yeah.
You know, I would have thrown that out there for Jeff, and he would have just had a fit.
Oh, it'd have been something else.
He can't stand it when I do things like that.
Why?
Well, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it when I indicate that my ego is high. He doesn't like that. And of course, it's all playfulness.
Oh, of course.
You've known a lot of people in your life. You know I don't have a big ego.
Not at all.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to that.
Yeah, I would say none for sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What are you hedging that for?
Well, it's just a little sarcasm.
Everybody has an ego.
To some degree, absolutely.
The question becomes, when does the ego become detrimental?
That's you got to know where you got to have that fine line where it stops.
Well, and listen, I think I have that.
A fine line?
No, I think I know that it's okay to have an ego, but it can't be pervasive. You know, it just can't overwhelm people.
Right. I would agree. So you think you're good?
Well, what do you think?
I asked you first.
Yes, I think I'm good. Because I know enough about myself to know that if I do come across as having a bigger ego than I should, it's more of a defense mechanism than an actual reality. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Understood. So I'd say you're there. That's where I'd put you.
I've studied myself at great lengths and to no avail. There's no answers. And I think most people would probably feel the same way. If they do much introspection, they probably feel like they don't really come up with a whole lot.
Yeah, well, you use some big words there.
You don't like this conversation.
No, you just use some big words. I was trying to use introspection or something.
Introspection.
And I was trying to figure that out, so I honestly didn't hear the rest of what you said. So that's where I'm at right now.
Poor dear.
Yeah, there's some issues there for sure. But it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
You guys have a great relationship.
Yeah, it's all good.
It works very well. It's obvious.
Seems to.
I'm sure when she needs
to have an intellectual conversation, she calls her
intellectual
friends.
stimulation, she probably goes out with her friends.
She does. She goes out a lot. Is that normal?
I'm surprised she's ever home. But hey, congratulations on a wonderful marriage.
Yeah, so far it's been great. Thank you.
So we often talk. You love to talk about food, and I'm on this kick now, where on Facebook there's all these suggestions for restaurants. We went to Jeff's, one of his favorites. I can't think of the name of it. It's the Korean barbecue restaurant on 2nd and Washington. And for months, he's told me how good the rice is.
Right.
So Saturday, we were downtown in that area at the popcorn store.
Uh-huh.
And we stopped by and we picked up chicken fried rice and brought it home. And I think my wife would agree. fabulous. There's another pitchman delivery.
Yeah, there's another free Coke for you.
I would hope.
Man.
Gangnam, I think that I can't remember whatever the name of that restaurant is. I think most people would know what I'm talking about. They give you a ton. Yeah, we got 3 meals out of it.
What?
Yeah.
Really? That's a bonus. I haven't been there.
You ought to try it.
I've heard it's good. I think my brother-in-law has mentioned that place, that he goes there too, and he said it was good. So
fried rice is a big deal.
A good fried rice is
it's either good or it's not very good. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%.
It's there's very little in between.
You know what? Another place that has pretty good fried rice is Saigon.
Maybe I'll try that.
It's one of my favorites in town. And
but
that's up with like your Kobe's and
this place are tied for first.
Kobe's got their fried rice.
Kobe's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But I'd put Saigon's there, but I wouldn't put them up in that level.
I do. I put this place tied for first.
Woo, must be good.
It is. It's so good.
Look at you!
Oh my God!
I can't. I know we've talked food before, but I've never seen you like this, especially over food, let alone fried rice.
I know, and I tried a place out on West 21st, and I won't mention the name because it was okay, but it didn't meet my expectations. And there's a place over here in close to where I live called Tiger Rice that I've heard great things about.
I haven't even heard of that place.
It's over here at 21st and Amadon. But yeah, fried rice is a big deal to me.
Fried rice is fantastic. I love it. I love a lot of things, but it's up there.
And we'll be going out to celebrate Jeff's birthday at
same place.
Yeah, Kobe
Standard. Do you have like the reservation just every year? Is it on like?
I don't know how he sets that up, but we always enjoy that meal. I mean, the salad's great, the soup is great, the meal is great, the rice is great. I mean,
there you have it. You're done.
There's a reason that's packed every night.
It's true. It's true. Nothing wrong with it. I thought you were going to go try somewhere else tonight. We were talking in the break.
Tonight, maybe. Dadgum Maze Road is just far enough to be a pain.
I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you the way to go to get to it. That would be easier. Don't go down 21st, and then try
over
to turn
13th.
left. Go to 13th. Come up. Turn right in there.
Yeah,
because it's so close.
That's a better idea.
Well, this is why I'm here. Smarter than I look.
But, Maze Road, it's right
awful.
there.
It's awful.
I don't live... I mean, Maze Road is relatively close, but it's not like it's close.
No. But it is, when it comes to traffic, 4 to 6,
awful.
No. When I go out, there's a couple places I can get out to Maze Road. I go to 21st just so I can go right and go right. If not, I'll never get out. Ever.
No. You try to go left on Maze Road from where you live?
Nope.
It's rarely going to happen. Although the other day on Sunday, we found an opening and were able to get out there.
Sunday's probably okay. But not during the week and not anywhere near 4 to 6. And this time of year, even worse.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of the game last night. It's hard to watch a game that doesn't really have great significance.
I had nothing. I can honestly say I watched a quarter.
I like watching Joe Burrow.
Well, Jamar Chase is good.
Yeah, and they're wasting some incredible opportunities, the Bengals are, because they didn't put a defense around this team. And it upsets me.
Well, they didn't put a defense, and now because they didn't sign Jamar last year, how much to keep him now? Well, he's going to be a free agent. Like, just terrible management. Terrible
Management.
Cost him 40% more now just to keep him, especially after the year he's having. I don't get it.
And I really like Joe Burrow.
I do too.
I mean, he's probably next to Mahomes, yeah, and I said it.
Whoa.
I would have never even thought about something like this before. There is no way to dislike Patrick Mahomes.
Well, he hasn't given us any reason to. And that's on the field with certain antics or stuff that he would do. Off the field, I haven't heard anything about Patrick Mahomes. That would be a problem. So how can't you like the guy? Plus, he's really good.
It's fun to watch him play.
It's
like
unbelievable.
I said to Vahe, he's not having a statistically great year, but he's still an assassin out there. He will figure out a way to beat you if you give him the opportunity. And teams give him the opportunity.
Well, that's the problem, that they're always within a score, and you can't have him have the ball with 2 minutes left in a game and he has the ball. You just can't. He's that one guy that's always going to figure out a way to get it done. And there's a good quarterback. Josh Allen is really good. But
did you see him the other day?
Really good. But if there's anybody you want, who else do you want in the last 2 minutes of a game?
I hear you, but Josh Allen's making a case. Did you see him play the other day?
I did. I watched that game.
Why in the world did they run it and lose their
first time out?
Unbelievable.
Maybe the dumbest.
Unbelievable, because they would have gotten the ball back.
Territory.
They had all 3 timeouts left.
You could have kicked it deep at that point.
Right. Just coaching malfeasance.
I don't understand it.
It makes no sense.
It's going on in a lot of places.
But that guy just kept ringing up points for me in my fantasy team.
No, he was ringing them up for everybody.
I don't care about everybody. Oh, wait. Sounded egotistical to say.
Well, that's all right. We already determined that you are a little bit have an ego, but you have a fine line with it. So you're okay. In some really
Please
weird.
don't ever talk about my ego again.
In some really weird way.
Well, I think my ego's in check. That's
is
what I'm saying.
Totally in check.
It doesn't overwhelm people. Is that a safe thing?
That's fair.
Yeah, thank you.
That's fair. Yeah, back to Patrick.
Wait a minute.
What?
Oh, go ahead. Back to Patrick.
Yeah, we're done talking about you and your ego. See, this is a problem now. Everyone will think, oh, no, he wants to continue talking about his ego.
I don't.
Patrick, he's only averaging 245 yards a game, 20 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Those aren't great numbers for somebody's that's team is 12-1.
And has the worst left tackle protection
in
the history of football.
It's scary bad. It's not just bad. I mean, when you're a fan and you're watching, and I caught myself Sunday night watching the left tackle rather than watching where the play was going to go, just to see how bad Bosa was going to beat Humphreys or whoever else they had put out there off that left side.
Yeah.
That's a $500 million quarterback you got there. Find somebody to play the left guard position. No?
Left tackle.
Or left tackle.
It's ridiculous. He's running for his life. But his scrambling ability is second to none. He's not the fast. It's just incredible to watch him.
Well, the whole
he has eyes not just on the back of his head, but surrounding his head.
Well, I know we've talked about this with this team, but it is. I don't know how they're. I'm sorry, I don't know how they're 12-1.
Makes no sense.
Watching this team, which I have, how they're 12-1, I don't know. I'm waiting for the wheels to come off, and they just seem to be holding on. But can they do this against really good teams in the playoffs, having to win 3 games in a row?
They need to get into a position where they can kind of cruise. They're 2 games up right now over both Buffalo and Pittsburgh. Of course, they play Pittsburgh. They've already played Buffalo. That's their only loss, so they would lose the tiebreaker. But if they can get into a position, this is a team that plays on Sunday against Houston.
Cleveland this week.
Well, no, I'm talking about they play on the Sunday before Christmas against Houston.
Yes.
And then they play on Christmas Day against Pittsburgh. 3 days later.
Yeah,
They need to be in a position where they can rest some people.
Well, they play 3 games in 10 days.
On Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they play the 15th, the 21st, and the 25th. And 2 of those games on the road.
They can't go full bore in that Christmas Day game. We're all thinking, oh, I can't wait for it. It's going to be amazing. The Chiefs, if they can beat Cleveland and then they can beat Houston, in that Christmas game, they need to rest everybody.
And then go to Denver?
Yes.
And have to win in Denver.
Well, Buffalo has to play Detroit this week. Let's see how that shakes out.
True, and I don't know if Pittsburgh can run the table. I mean,
we'll see.
Tomlin, you can't blame Tomlin, but they got a tough.
They have a tough schedule.
They're at Philly, at Baltimore, Kansas City, and then
they're not going to they're not going to win both those games.
They're not winning all 4 of those.
What I'm saying is, get your expectations under control for that Christmas Day game with the Chiefs. That's what I'm trying to forewarn people.
I could see that game being ugly for the Chiefs.
I could see it where they're resting everybody.
Well, you got 3 games in 10 days. If they're to a point where they may have already clinched.
That's what I'm talking about.
By that time,
if they've clinched it, why would you play anybody in that game?
Patrick and Kelsey, once you guys stay at home for Christmas, we'll see you next.
That's what I'm saying.
The next week,
because we're all amped up about. Oh my God, the Chiefs are playing on Christmas Day. Netflix, it's going to be awesome. Not so fast, people.
And what happened last year on Christmas?
Yeah, I hear you.
Against the Raiders.
All right, time for a break. Duda has a game. When we return, Max will participate. Max is just, I'm going to bury him in this game.
He's kind of owned you the last few. Though.
Not really.
Yeah, he has.
We'll be back. The Bob and Jeff Show with Jason Duda.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show.
All right, Max, it is
time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Time to play the game here on KFH Radio. By the way, it was, Monday Night Raw was in town last night down at Intrust. I did not. I don't know if Jeff went or not. He was toying with the idea. But Wichita showed up well on TV. Good crowd, raucous, engaged. Was proud of our community.
Good job out there.
Yeah, it was
fantastic.
Fun.
No, I did not watch it. Sorry to all the WWE folks, but I did not watch it.
All right, what's the what do we have? A continuation of
it's gonna be different because it's you and Max, so we're going to do the same type of game. I will ask you a question. If you can answer it without the answer, you get 2 points. If you want the multiple choice, you get 1 point.
All right, I'm game for it. I'm on a bit of a hot streak in games. All right, didn't I beat Jeff?
Yeah, but you didn't beat me. So,
all right, here we go.
80s music.
Oh, Max. Right in.
Max,
Max ought to do pretty well here.
Max, you're going first. What's love got to do with it?
Tina Turner.
Who sings it?
Tina Turner.
You are correct.
I'm offended by that question.
That was easy.
Okay, you ready?
Wait, he gets how many points?
He gets 2. I'm keeping track today, too.
Well, so am I.
All right, the first few obviously are easy. 8679.
8675
309.
I can't think of who did it. I'd sing the song for you.
Well, yeah, but I need to know who's. Do you want the choices?
Yeah.
Belle Biv DeVoe, The Smiths, Tommy Two-Tone.
Tommy Two-Tone.
You are correct.
Dadgummit.
Oh, should have had that one.
Well, yeah, I should have had a lot of things. Next. Max, it's your turn.
All night long.
Lionel Richie.
Oh.
And Max is taking a 4-1 lead.
Well, you're giving him layups.
Well, yours was a layup, wasn't it? Okay, how about this one? Another one bites the dust.
Queen.
You are correct. You guys are going to rattle through this.
How long are we doing this?
We'll do about 5 each of this, and then we'll switch.
Right.
Love Shack. Max.
B-52s.
Good grief.
You are correct. Wake me up before you go.
Wham.
Look at you guys just rolling through these. Okay, Max, take on me, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Are you laughing or is that your
Uh-huh.
That's his answer. So easy.
Jump?
Van Halen. 8-7. This is the last round for
Yeah,
80s.
one
rock.
That could also have been the Pointer
In the
Sisters.
air. In the air tonight, Max.
Phil
Oh,
Collins.
God.
These are way too easy for you guys. 10-7. Straight out of Compton.
Straight out of Compton?
Yeah.
You're giving me a rap song.
Yeah, I would have known the answer to this because I watched a documentary on it.
You're embarrassing me on national radio.
It's awesome. I love it. On a music question. Straight out of Compton.
You're giving me one that...
You're thinking too long. You want multiple choice?
No, I don't want... yes. I think I know.
DMX, Ice-T, NWA, Snoop Dogg.
NWA.
You are correct.
That's what I thought it was, but you embarrassed me.
How'd I embarrass you?
In front of my family.
How'd I embarrass you? You got it wrong. What am I supposed to do?
All right, 10-8 after that round. What's the next category?
Let's see here. Let's go with where on earth is that?
Ah, kill him here. Congratulations on a nice run, Max.
Where on earth is that?
Uh-oh. I've lost internet.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
Well, we're in your house, so figure it out.
Well, I haven't lost it.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
I'm so mad at you right now.
Well, it's not my fault you didn't know NWA. How do I know NWA?
Why don't you log on to my internet?
Okay, here we go. We're going to go facts about the American Revolution.
Wait a minute. I thought you were doing something else. I like that other category.
Which one?
The one you mentioned.
No, you can't because you got to see the picture. So we're doing this category. I don't care. It's my game. You made me come up with the game.
It's ridiculous.
All right, Max. American author Ralph Waldo Emerson coined the phrase, "the shot heard round the world," in a poem about the battle at which location?
Lexington and Concord.
You are correct, Max. Oh, big one. All right, Bob. Members of American militias were frequently called what? Members of American militias were frequently called...
Why do I get that one?
Because it's just random.
I steal?
No, you can't steal.
See, Max probably knows. Do you want multiple choice?
Yes.
Redcoats, Minutemen, Frogmen, Doughboys.
Minutemen.
You are correct. But you're falling behind.
You're embarrassing me in front of my people.
I'm not embarrassing anybody. Okay, Max. Oh, this one. It's got a Boston in the question.
Oh, God.
During the Boston Massacre, British soldiers fired into a crowd of colonists following what provocation?
Boston Tea Party.
So easy.
Boston Tea Party.
Everything Max is getting is... you could go to a zoo and ask the animals. And
that is incorrect.
Really?
Ooh, good deal.
Oh.
Yes, the crowd of colonists threw snowballs. How about that?
That's a no-pointer for Max.
Oh, I know. Oh, look at you, just all bubbly all of a sudden.
All right,
that incident would be repeated later on May 4th, 1970.
What was the purpose of Paul Revere's Midnight Ride? Multiple choice.
You wanted to go. He needed a burger.
The purpose of the Midnight Ride.
Yeah.
Multiple choice.
To warn the approach of British soldiers, to aid George Washington at Valley Forge, to announce the Declaration of Independence, to capture the traitor Benedict Arnold.
The first one.
To warn of a British soldiers?
Yeah.
You are correct. Oh, it's 12-11. He caught up, Max. Here you go. Oh, here's another Boston Tea Party question. During the Boston Tea Party, the Sons of Liberty wore crudely made disguises to resemble what?
Oh, I should know.
You want multiple choice, or do you want to answer it?
They wanted to resemble the British Army. I can't think of it. I'm not going to put them all.
That is incorrect. It was the Native Americans.
Max's pride is getting in the way.
Well, I give him
He doesn't
props.
want to take the multiple choice.
I give him props.
And that's how I'm going to beat his ass.
Often recognized as the first American diplomat, which founding father was tasked with forging an alliance with France?
What is this? I haven't been in school for decades.
This was decades before you were in school. So there you go. You want multiple choice?
Well, I think I know who it is, but I don't want to guess. And yes, I do want multiple
James
choice.
Madison.
That's it.
Alexander Hamilton, Benjamin Franklin, Ethan Allen.
I believe it's James Madison.
It is Benjamin Franklin.
What?
Benjamin. Benjamin had a thing for the menage a trois, Bob. That's why he went to France.
Get a question right, Max, and then talk. Go.
Max, before
This
betraying
is the last round of these.
Before betraying the Patriots, Benedict Arnold was well known for what?
Give me a second.
You want multiple choice?
Sure, I'll have to take it. I can't think what it was.
Serving as a judge, being a victorious general, painting portraits, raising funds for colonists.
I think he was a victorious general.
You are correct. 1311.
Doggone it. All right, my last one in this category. Do you have another category?
I'll see if I got one.
Well, we got to hurry.
Famously depicted in a large oil portrait, George Washington crossed which icy river during a sneak attack on Christmas Day, 1776?
You're embarrassing me in front of people.
Oh my God, that's so.
Shut up, Max. The river starts. Go ahead. I'll take the multiple choice.
Potomac River, St. Lawrence, Delaware, Hudson.
The Delaware.
Yes.
All right, we go to a new category. It's, what is it, 13-12?
13 to 12.
One more category.
Let me see.
Only 3 rounds.
Let me see if I got one.
Come on, man.
No. Let's see. Okay, let's try this one.
All right, here we go. What is it?
I think this is geography.
All right.
Who's up?
Max.
I barely know where I am
here.
now.
No, we did these ones.
Oh, good. I'm directionally challenged.
And my internet's stopping. I think the game's over.
No, the game's not over. I get a chance here.
I think the game's over.
Come up with something.
Okay. Ready, Max?
Yep.
Although it doesn't grow there naturally, which of these spicy nicknames applies to the people of Connecticut? Do you want multiple choice?
Sure. Connecticut.
Nutmeggers, cinnamon, big dills, salon bros.
Nutmeggers.
I know this one.
Nutmeggers.
That's correct, right?
It is. Max gets.
I would have gotten 2 points on that one, but oh well. I'll get some crazy question. What
New
is
Mexico is the only state with an official question. Red or green? What does this question refer to?
Chili peppers.
You are correct.
Oh, baby.
It's all tied up. Referencing the fact that the British monarch never married, who is Virginia named for? The state.
What?
If you know this, Max, you're fired.
What was the question?
Referencing the fact
Queen Victoria.
that this British monarch.
Queen Victoria.
You are correct.
Good grief.
Just after the Kink song, you know.
All right, Bob. Which of these conflicts took place in what is now Montana?
Well, what do you mean? It's a
Okay, what major conflict took place in Montana?
Well, I don't know. I get the Duttons, Yellowstone, the Dutton Ranch.
Do you want?
I want it.
Battle of the Little Bighorn, Seminole Wars, Wounded Knee Massacre, Battle of the Alamo.
Little Bighorn.
You are correct.
All right.
Down by one.
Last round. Max, you better get something going.
Why? He's up by one. Max, this is going to be a tough one. No, it's not. Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon
The Fountain of Youth.
Florida. It's
Fountain of Youth.
Oh, no. And the internet crashes. I'm done. It's over.
It's Fountain of Youth.
And what?
So Max wins.
Get on my internet.
Max wins. It's gone. It's gone.
All right, we have one round to play. You've got your question.
We're just doing one round?
Yeah, just one round. This is going to decide it. What's your question for Max?
Spanish explorer Juan.
Now go to something
I already
different.
You want a
answered that
different one?
Fountain of Youth.
Yeah.
Okay, Max.
What was your answer?
Fountain of Youth. That was right.
No, we didn't. I didn't get to any of the questions on that one.
Oh.
So we're going to go
Max
to it.
gets penalized.
We're going to a different question. Here we go. Max, you ready?
I'm ready.
Michigan was awarded its Upper Peninsula after conceding its claim on what town? You want to guess or do you want multiple choice?
Toronto.
You are incorrect. Toledo.
He should have gone for the multiple choice.
I would
All right,
never
Bob.
have known it.
Now I can win this baby.
Until it became its own state in 1820, the area that is now Maine was part of what other state?
I know that.
Oh, you can win it here, he says.
Do I want to go for the win or the tie?
Well, you're going to lose if you. Well, yeah. If you go for the win and guess right now,
Well,
you
there's
can
only
win.
two that it could be. There's only two that it could be.
Sure, if that's what you think.
So I'm going to go for the win.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, well, this is a trick question. I'll say New Hampshire.
Your choices were Vermont, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
The correct answer is Massachusetts.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not.
I don't believe you.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts isn't connected to Maine.
In 1820, it must have been.
I'm going to call in some people to figure that one out.
Well, sure, because I'm sure
there's a protest.
I'm sure whenever you lose, there's a protest.
Yeah, there's a protest.
That's just how
on
it
that
is.
one.
What was the rest of the
Max?
Ponce de Leon question?
What was the? When did he arrive? What? It was around which holiday?
God,
When he arrived?
I remember that fifth
Well,
grade.
of course
I
it
learned-
was
fifth grade. I learned
Thanksgiving.
No, it was not Thanksgiving. You're not even close.
4th of July.
Not even close.
about that. Labor Day.
Arbor Day.
I don't even know what Arbor Day is. Easter.
Easter. Oh, should have gotten that one.
They'd canceled it
All
by
right,
then. They
Max
found the
eats
body.
out of a win that will be questioned.
It's not questioned. Max got the W.
I don't necessarily agree with it.
Hey, Bob, which of these holidays began in Nebraska as a way to help settlers?
Which holiday began in Nebraska as a way to help settlers?
Yeah.
Labor Day.
Arbor Day. You just
Really?
said it.
Doggone
I
it.
just gave it to you.
Should have gotten it.
Man.
I messed that one up.
You put up a decent fight,
Yeah, I put up a nice fight.
but Max ultimately gets the W. Good job, Max.
Checking college basketball schedule to see if there's games worthy of my attention. And first glance, I'm not seeing it.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Nothing? We got nothing tonight?
Providence, DePaul. DePaul gunning for its first win in the Big East in 2 or 3 years.
That's a
They're
long
actually
time.
favored in that game. Michigan at Arkansas. I could see watching some of that. Wisconsin, Illinois. Boy, a lot of these games are just on streaming services now.
Isn't that
one's on Peacock. The world is changing.
It's getting out of hand. You're going to have to get every possible streaming whatever
they're nickel and diming us,
in order to be able to watch what you want to watch. It's the same thing when you want to watch a movie and say there's three movies like Jack Reachers or whatever they are, whatever you want to call, and one's on one, one's on another, and the third's on another one. So you have to have all three if you want to watch all three. I mean, it's smart. That's what they're doing. If you want to watch Mission Impossibles, there's 2 on Paramount. There's 1 on Netflix. There's 1 on Apple. It's ridiculous.
I watched Twisters the other night with my wife.
The new one?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Very average.
I didn't mind it. I didn't think it was super, but it wasn't bad.
It was okay, but nothing to write home about.
No.
It was okay.
But what do you expect in those? You can't expect a ton.
No, you can't expect a whole lot, but it was just okay. It wasn't anything I would ever watch again.
Have you been watching Landman?
Not yet.
It's good.
Haven't delved into it. I'm into Yellowstone. Trying to get to the end of that.
I finally watched 1823 and 1883 and 1923.
Those are good.
Is 1923? Are they having another one? Because
I don't know.
They have to because I've
lost track.
That didn't end telling me anything.
No, I've lost track of everything.
The son's still on a boat.
Taylor Sheridan has lost me. He's doing too many things.
Do you like this new Yellowstone? What do you think? I don't like the way that they killed off Dutton.
Kevin Costner really messed them up, man. They completely had to change what they're doing because he didn't come back for this final run. And it's okay, but they had a completely different ending, right? With Kevin Costner.
Kinda.
But he's not there, so they had to change up everything.
They did. I still think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It gets on my nerves. Beth gets on my nerves.
Well, that's the whole idea. If she gets on your nerves, but you keep coming back to watch.
Well, there you go. You'll be back here on Thursday for the 3-man booth with Jeff. Tomorrow, yours truly and Jeff. We hope you'll listen. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Max back in the studio. Have a good night.